Hello, 10th grader. This is Mr. Black, and I am going to quickly review with you some notes concerning imagery, in particular, imagery as it pertains to poems. Imagery is an important concept in writing, especially poetry. It exists everywhere in poetry. It's a very common element of poems, but it also exists outside of poetry. In regular prose, you can find imagery all the time. It'll show up in our other forms of poetry as well. So when we look at figurative poems, there'll be imagery. When we look at sound device poems, there will be some imagery. So it's good to start with this and get that foundation set so we're ready to see it all as we conquer poetry. So imagery is painting a picture with words. And what imagery kind of comes down to is words that appeal to our five senses. So words that appeal to what we see, what we touch, what we taste, what we smell, and what we hear are imagery. And writers use those to help us experience the poem the way they want us to experience it. So it's painting a picture with words, but it does it through our five senses. So the first one we would probably consider would be our visual imagery. And in the poem, they're going to talk about what it looks like, what color is it, the details of us being able to see it as if it's really there. So words and phrases that pop out and help us see something, we're going to consider visual imagery. A host of golden daffodils, as William Wordsworth says. Perhaps the next most common would be auditory imagery, which is sound. What does it sound like? And this is common in poetry because it's intended to have a rhythm and a meter to it often. And so auditory imagery is another strong foundation for poetry, and it's to help us hear what's going on. From The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe, the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. And throughout that poem, it sounds like bells ringing. And so we're able to hear that, and that's clear auditory imagery. Olfactory imagery deals with smells and scents. So any description that deals with exactly what it smells like, so you can almost experience that smell. And that typically comes with things that have deep, rich smells, things like coffee or working at some place like Wawa. My shirt smelled of hoagies after shopping at Wawa. The distinct smells and aromas will all be part of our olfactory imagery. Gustatory imagery is taste. So what does it taste like? Sweet, salty, bitter? Does it make you think of food? Can you taste those chocolate chip cookies? Those kinds of words help to put us in the situation of consuming this food. You can see too how that would work with smell. Those two things would often go together, the sense and the taste of things. So you'll often see those in combination, and those would be clear elements of imagery. And the last one is tactile imagery, or touch. What does it feel like? Sharp, smooth, soft, prickly, dry. From Mother to Son by Langston Hughes, it had tacks in it and splinters. Clear, tactile imagery. And synesthesia, that is defining one sense in terms of another. And this is, combining and crisscrossing senses. So we have our five types of imagery, our five senses. And this is just something associated with this, all right, synesthesia. And like a phrase like, I cried red tears of rage when he cheated on me. The visual and the feeling are the tactile are crisscrossed, all right? Emily Dickinson example here. With blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me, and then the windows failed, and then could not see to see. Can the sound of buzzing be blue? And she's describing death in this particular poem, and combining those things might help to sort of explain the unexplainable. There's crisscrossing of senses can put us into a maybe unreal state. And so there's a lot that you can do with this, and it kind of helps. It kind of explains and helps to portray some of the creativity that poems offer, and even things more modern like songs. So that concludes our notes on imagery. Not much there, not much to know, but a very, very important piece of poetry that you definitely need to be on the lookout for as we go through this unit and the units beyond.